Hi, I'm Deanna and I read a lot of series, which is great, except that I'm consistently starting more series than I'm finishing. The number of series that I'm currently in the middle of is getting a touch overwhelming, and so the Completion Chronicles was born. This is going to be a monthly vlog series, with each episode being themed, mostly based on vibes and quick wins. Throughout the vlogs, I will do my best to read as many themed books as possible, with the goal of completing as many series. The more, the merrier. The number of series that I'm in the middle of will change naturally over the year as I finish, start, and DNF more series. The overall goal of this video series and my main reading goal of the year is the same: complete more series than I'm starting. So in January, I managed to finish 6 series, I started 4 series, and I DNF'd another 5 series. So I'm starting off February with 118 series. And let's see how many series I can finish this month. Hey, how you doing? I hope you're well. Have I immediately started this vlog right before finishing off episode 1? Yes, I have. But I figured what a great way to introduce my episode 2 and then get a kickstart on my reading. Tomorrow is the 1st of Feb and I will be heading to Geelong to catch up with a couple of my friends from uni who I haven't seen in the longest time, and I'm just excited to go to the beach, just spend the day with them. So I will be traveling to Geelong and I've got a few contenty things to do tomorrow, so I figured I'll just start and open the vlog now. So February is FaRoFeb, so Fantasy Romance February. So I figured I would do a fantasy romance theme for February. I have put all of the fantasy romance books I'm in the middle of in a spinner wheel, so I'm bringing back the wheel of sequels, and I haven't decided if I'm going to binge read the series or read one. I'm really going to let my mood dictate how I feel about that. So without further ado, let us figure out what our first read for February is going to be. So let's bring up the wheel. Ooh, okay, and we have 6 Scorched Roses. Okay, all right. Actually, it's embarrassing how long I have had this series on my TBR, so let me grab it. I'll be back in a second. Let me figure out where I've put it first. All right, so the first book I have for the Completion Chronicles is 6 Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. This is a novella. I don't know why I have put this off. This is like book 1.5 in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. I completely loved and adored The Serpent and the Wings of Night when I read it in January of 2023. And then have just proceeded to sit on this series all of 2024. So this is the perfect excuse for me to dive into this one. My understanding is that we're following a witch who is blind, or at least she has some kind of illness, and there's also some illness spreading to other witches, and she has made a deal with a vampire. The vampires are split into like different segments, so we had like the night vampires, there's blood vampires, and there's something else. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the blood vampires that she makes a deal with, that she will give him 6 magic roses in exchange for vials of his blood, because she believes that the antidote to this illness is in his blood, or in vampire blood. And all I've heard is just rave reviews about this, so I think I'm kind of sitting on this series because it's like a rainy day. And yeah, I've heard that the relationship between Lilith the witch and Vale the vampire feels completely mesmerizing and completely well developed for a book that is coming in at less than 200 pages. So I am excited for this one. It's a novella. I probably will try to read this one with my eyeballs, and then in terms of reading the second book, I am going to take part in the Romantasy-a-thon hosted by Tori Between Pages. This time we're doing like a 10-day reading challenge, and the idea is that we're getting ready for the Starfall Ball, and I'll check the prompts for that. So I may read this one, pick another pick, and then come back to this one. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm excited to get back into Carissa Broadbent. That is it for me at the moment. I will check in once I have finished, or if I have any updated thoughts, and yeah, I will speak to you soon. All right, see ya. you doing? I am checking in. I have not started this yet, Six Scorched Roses, mostly because I haven't had time to sit down and read physically. Also, I am reading another book which has completely captivated me and taken over my life. So what I wanted to do, since this is a semi-pointless addition to the vlog, is that I wanted to spin again and I wanted to get an audiobook because I need an audiobook pick on the go. I went to Geelong, you saw the B-roll. Got burnt as hell. Luckily managed not to get my tattoo. Brian will be so proud of me. I kept sunscreening up this bad boy, completely missed the back of my neck and the top of my foot, so ouch. Anyway, let's pull up the Wheel of Sequels and we will spin until we get a book that has an audiobook, because I always like to have at least one audiobook and another read on the go. So let's do this. Let's go again. Ooh, a touch of malice. I think this is Scarlet St. Clair. Oh, actually, this might be a good one. Okay, a touch of malice. This could be interesting, and it'll probably say more about me than it says about the book, because I haven't been in this series for a long time, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. So this is Scarlet St. Clair's Hades and Persephone retelling, which started with a touch of darkness. It's like a contemporary fantasy romance, I guess. In this world, we have Persephone, who has moved to New Athens, where she is disguised herself as a human to study journalism, and Hades is the god of the dead and also has built a gambling empire, because apart from being the god of the underworld, Hades is also associated with wealth. So they have a chance encounter and she finds herself making a deal with him at the gambling den, and she must create life in the underworld. However, she is not a very good goddess of spring and hasn't found her powers. There is a lot of similarities in terms of the setup between this and Lore Olympus, but this is a bit different. So I did read this back in 2020 and I read the first 2 books. So yeah, I'm excited. I really enjoy Scarlet St. Clair's writing. Oh, I might have screwed myself, but I will then be interested to read A Touch of Chaos afterwards. When I was first reading it, we hadn't got the Hades books yet, the Hades saga, so I don't know if I will read them right away. I will have to do some research into it to see if people thought they added much to the story, but I'm definitely interested in finishing off the Hades and Persephone saga. So yeah, that's a great pick. I'm very happy with that. So yes, I will check in when I'm a bit of the way through either A Touch of Malice or this one. I am hoping to get some time maybe tomorrow. I'm a bit behind on editing and filming, so I am uploading my very late reading goals at the minute. I will either do some filming tomorrow after work, or no, I might focus on getting some reading done tomorrow after work and a review, and then Thursday can do some more reading and some editing, I think, and then Friday I can get some filming done. Get to film my Romantasy-a-thon TBR, since I am taking part in that, which is hosted by Tour Between Pages. So hopefully as well I can squeeze on a few more of these books and include some spinner wheels picks for the readathon. So anyway, I will check in when I have some thoughts, feelings and opinions. All right, I will talk to you soon. See ya. Hey, how you doing? Editing me here to let you know that I seem to have accidentally deleted the clip of where I was giving my update of A Touch of Malice and let you know my next spin, which ended up being Feral Blood by Eva Chase. So this is a very delayed. So with A Touch of Malice, I was a little worried going into it that it had been 4 years since I'd been in this series, that I really wasn't going to understand what was going on, but Scarlet St. Clair had done a fantastic job of contextualizing the events, especially in book 2, and I felt comfortable knowing where Persephone and Hades was at. It made me realize just how much I enjoyed this world and Scarlet St. Clair's take on mythology and putting it into this modern setting in New Athens. The characterizations I think were pretty good. I loved the characters of Hermes, he's so much fun, and Apollo is a bit of a dick, but we learn more underneath that. Yeah, I will say there is a lot of steam in this one, which you know me, I'm never opposed to. I just felt like there was not that much variation to it, or it didn't do much to push forward the character development. So in terms of like the balance between the plot and the spice, after a while I definitely was a lot more interested in the plot and was starting to skim through the sex scenes, only because I just felt like they didn't necessarily add anything to Hades and Persephone's relationship, but overall really did enjoy it. Hello, I can't remember where I left off, but I think I just picked Feral Blood as my next spin, and I was just about to finish A Touch of Malice, and then I said, you know, depending on how I'm feeling, I will dive into A Touch of Chaos. I wasn't sure I was going to do the Romantasy Completion Chronicles, whether I was going to binge the series or what not, so I figured I would just let the mood inspire. Anyway, since that little update, I have finished A Touch of Malice, and I've now finished A Touch of Chaos, because the ending of A Touch of Malice was bonkers. Obviously, we've gone into like the big battle against Triad, who are a league of evil demigods who are trying to overthrow the Olympians by what's a spoiler? By joining forces with an old enemy of the Olympians. And yeah, a lot happened with the Olympians. Like we had a lot of deaths, which I wasn't expecting. At one stage they were dropping like flies. And I will say, in terms of the ending, obviously this whole series has been very focused on Hades and Persephone's relationship first, and obviously we get to see them and they're happily ever after, and we end with a beautiful coronation scene, and then the bonus epilogue has, you know, typical bonus epilogue stuff and things. However, I wish we would have got more of the aftermath of the battle. Like, we get told that basically this whole world has been put in disarray. As I said, gods have been dying left, right and center. There has been destruction, and the Olympians' power source has diminished and depleted, but also they've destroyed the Triad, and I just wish we got a little bit more of how they rebuilt this. Even if it was just like a little half paragraph, it would have been nice. I don't think I missed it while listening to the audiobook. They definitely mentioned it in that kind of last chapter when we got to the coronation, and obviously focusing a bit more on the underworld, that there was going to be like a new world order. But yeah, I just wish we got a little bit more of that. But overall, I really enjoyed this series. I think this is a fantastic fantasy romance with Greek mythology, and I would say that Scarlett St. Clair is probably the first to have done this, like in what we now know Romantasy to be, with that Greek mythology twist. And obviously now it's becoming a really big thing, it's becoming really popular, and we've got The Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Mass, we have The Games That God Play by Abigail Owens, which I'm dying to get to. So I think it's just been a really fun time, and I enjoyed her take on it. We do have this weaving in of myth and monsters. You know, we've got minotaurs, chimera, there was a labyrinth, and yeah, I just really enjoyed how the gods were mentioned. It was interesting take on the demigods as well. I will say this one's The Touch of Chaos is quite dark, and there is a trigger warning section. And the big bad Theseus was a pretty great villain. We do get his point of view chapters, and there's quite a lot of dark shit and abuse happening, which at the start they gave you the chapters to earmark. So I think that was a great touch, you know, just depending on what your mental state is at the time, you might not wanted to have listened or read that. Would say it's a weird, and maybe I do need to read the Hades books. I'm not sure why Dionysus got a point of view. If we were branching out to other people's point of views, we obviously then started to get Hades' point of view at the end of A Touch of Malice, which bled into A Touch of Chaos. But if we were going to other point of views, like I would have loved a Hermes point of view, because I love Hermes. And Hecate is also another fabulous character who I completely love and adore. So it would have been fun to have those point of view characters. But I also get the reason why we got Dionysus is because the gods were divided, and they were kind of like very like Captain America Civil War, building alliances and armies on either side. And Dionysus and Hades are on the good side, and at one point they need to divert resources for everyone to be prepared for the big battle. So it was necessary to push the plot along, but I just wish we got other point of view characters as well, because also we get Theseus's point of view. The battle was pretty epic. I just wish we got a little bit more of the aftermath part. So yeah, overall I really did enjoy the Hades and Persephone saga, and I'm counting that as a win because I've completed the first, like the 4 books. I think if I'm ever in the mood for this world again, I will go back back and read the spin-off books, which is Hades books. But at this stage, I'm pretty content. So I will pick up the audiobook for Feral Blood next by Eva Chase. And I got it in like a bind up, so it has books 1, 2, and 3. So again, depending on how I feel, I might just go straight into book 3. From what I can tell, it looks like that particular series by Eva Chase is a Why Choose, and it's 9 books, but it's split across like 3 trilogies, so it's kind of giving me the Lana Perachek's Fae Guardians, so we'll see. But if I make some progress on that one, that will also be quite nice. I won't do another spin until I get my way through Feral Blood, because I'm doing this reading challenge alongside other reading challenges. I've already gone through my TBR and I've made sure to squeeze in some sequel books. That is it for me at the minute, and just really glad that I get to cross off another series. It feels good. And that one, I don't think I've touched a book in that series since 2020 or 2021, so it feels pretty good to now have completed it. I will speak to you when I have another update or I want to pick my next read. All right, talk to you soon. Hi. So I don't remember the last time I updated this vlog, but here we go. I figured I'll give you an update. So I have since finished Feral Blood and Kings of the Moonlight by Eva Chase, which is books 2 and 3 in her Bound to the Fae series. And I wasn't sure how this one was going to wrap up, because it is a 9-book series, and I thought it was going to be, it seems to be split into trilogies, so I thought maybe we'd have different characters per each trilogy, but with the cliffhanger ending of Kings of Moonlight, I don't think that is the case. I think we're gonna stay with the same couple, except for maybe there's 9 books and then a 10th. I think the 10th might spin off to someone else. But anyway, safe to say, I really enjoyed this. I enjoy Eva Chase's Fae fantasy world. It has this traditional Fae folklore feel. You know, they've got the fairy wines and the revels. The Fae can't lie. In this, the Seelie and Unseelie courts have been at war for a very long time. The Seelie, or the Summer Fae, can shift into wolves, and the Unseelie, or the Winter Fae, can shift into ravens. And I'm very excited that we're going to get to know more about the ravens in book 4. So overall, I'm enjoying this series. Interested to see what happens with Talia. As I said, we've got this kind of cliffhanger ending in the 2nd book, where we finally got Talia and her 3 men, August, Wit, and Silius, I think, off the top of my head. They're kind of cohesively living together in this very happy world. The Fae are doing quite well. Their betrayal from ages ago has been forgiven, so they're on the up and up. And then we have this moment of tension. So it would be interesting to see this. Alongside the Winter and Summer Fae, we have the Rats of something. I can't remember off the top of my head. They don't really have any lands. They seem to be what humans would typically see as the evil Fae, the reasons for changelings. And I think the 3rd trilogy is named after them. So would be interested to see where the story goes. And I guess to see what happens with Talia and her Waichu situation. And to see how many more guys will be included. I figured I would pop in and let's do another spinner wheel. Today starts the Romantasy-a-thon readathon, so it goes today, the 15th of Feb, until the 22nd of Feb. I do have a number of books already on my TBR that have come from this sequels list, but I figured let's pick one and see what we're reading next. Ooh, okay, we're starting with the big one. Okay, we are going with Onyx Storm. Wow, okay. This is going to fulfill the prompt of who to bring, which is new release. For this readathon, it's split up into like different categories, and each category has like 4 options. So what you read will determine what's happening. All right, here we go. My special edition has recently arrived. So yes, we're going with Onyx Storm. I will most likely listen to this one on audio and maybe do some tandem reading and also flick through this at the same time. I am a little bit nervous just because I have seen reactions of people, and also I think this also ends up on a pretty big cliffhanger ending, and my understanding is that Rebecca Yarros hasn't actually written the 4th book yet, so there is going to be a bit of a delay. But hey, I can always reread this when the fourth book is set to be released. I will also need to watch a recap because I'm very sure my little goldfish brain has forgotten what happened at the end of Iron Flame. I'm pretty sure I remember like most of it, but that big cliffhanger ending, I'm just head empty and vibing. So yeah, there we go. We're gonna kick off the readathon strong and continue with the Empyrean series. So this is a series that I will be fully caught up to date with once I finish this installment. So not completed, but I've completed all I can for now. So that kind of counts. We'll see how this goes. Come back and give you my updates, and depending on what my mood is, I will do another spin to get my next read. Welcome to my very non-aesthetic spare room, which I call spare room. If you're a Narnia fan, you know. This is going to maybe in the next year transform into like my library room, but at this point in time, it's a bit dull. Anyway, interior design aside, just giving you an update that I don't know how many % of the way through, but I have this much left of Onyx Storm, and whew, okay, lots has happened. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Personally, I think Rebecca Yarros has done a fantastic job of balancing all the plot, the political intrigue, the war, and the kind of build up for war. We're kind of being intentionally vague. I think she's done a great job in this book so far of collecting troops and allies and trying to find a way to defeat this big bad, because at this point in time the big bad has been pushed to the fringes of society as like a scary, spooky story that you tell people and it's considered folklore, you know. So they're kind of on the back foot that their government has been gaslighting them and deliberately altering historical text to reverse their history. So I'm enjoying that. We're getting to learn some more about Andana, and overall great. There is some stuff happening with Xaden and Violet, who are our kind of main couple, and that has been interesting. I do appreciate the way that she's been able to balance their relationship with the overall military plot. I think it's balanced quite well. There are, if it pisses you off, there are moments in time where just due to what's happening in the story and their places in the world that they do need to be separated for periods of time, but it makes perfect sense to what's going on. And I love her squad, her like writer squad and her friendship group. They are just so wonderful, and Roddick is just amazing. He gives me Sokka from The Last Airbender vibes, like a little goofy, the comedic relief, but really has a heart of gold and would do anything for his people, and I completely love and adore him. We've had some twists and turns already. Was not expecting what happened when they made a trip to the Isles. It was kind of brutal, and yeah, I am expecting the last 100 pages or so to completely destroy me, and then we'll have to wait for the fourth book to come out, and I'm very certain I'm going to do a reread of these. Before I get sucked into the last 100 pages or so, I figured I would do a spinner wheel to decide my next read. We are still in the middle of the Romantasy-a-thons, like the Starfell Ball of my Romantasy sequels onto the list, so hopefully we can get one that is going to work for both one of the prompts that I need and also just for this challenge. So without further ado, let's spin the wheel. Okay, all right. This is the Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, so that is perfect. So we're going back to the Crowns of Nyaxia series and Crystal Broadbent, which I'm looking forward to after having read Six Scorched Roses earlier in this vlog, which means that for Romantasy-a-thon, for my background, I am going to be a vampire, because that is one of the prompts. I'm excited for this one, especially since what happened and what went down in Serpent and the Wings of Night. The ending of that book was wild. So yeah, I will most likely do a tandem read like I've been doing with Onyx Storm. I've really been enjoying that. Obviously, outside of walking to work and that kind of thing, I've just been enjoying the tandem reading experience. So we'll do that with Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. All right, so I will come back. I'm not sure if I'll come back and let you know my thoughts of Onyx Storm, just because I can't tell you about it without spoiling. So if you've read it and you want to talk to me about it, please message me. My Instagram's always linked down below and we can talk all the things. There's a couple people at work as well who are reading this series, so I will have to message one of the girls in my team once I've finished this and see where she's at so we can talk about it together. I will let you get back on with your day and I will get back to work. I'm on my lunch break currently and I will speak to you soon. I have realistically abandoned this vlog, but yeah, I thought I'd check in. So I didn't read as much over the last couple of days just because I spent the weekend at mum's place and I had every intention of reading all the things but didn't. So I'm coming on here to check in to let you know that I am about halfway through The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent, and I forgot just how much I love this world. I love Araya, I love Rain. We're now really focusing on the aftermath of book 1 and what happened at the end of the Kajari, and we are moving away from like the deadly trials and into a very tense political landscape with a civil war in the House of Night, and unfortunately we have an unlikely or a unwanted ally with the House of Blood vampires, and we're getting to see the House of Shadow, which has been mentioned. So this is obviously a fantasy romance which includes vampires, and I'm enjoying it. I am doing a mix of like reading with my eyeballs and listening to it. Do understand now why you have to read Six Scorched Roses, because the characters in that do become important to the political climate, and overall I'm very much enjoying it. So this might be the last book for this vlog, or I might see if I can squeeze in another one. I might have a look at series that I'm in the middle of, and if there's one that I have only got to read one book to catch up, that will be great. Overall, thoroughly enjoying this. I really enjoy Carissa Broadbent's writing. It's kind of got this lush, descriptive feel to it, and am enjoying the dark nature of the vampires in here. So yeah, I was a Twilight girly growing up, so anything with vampires is always going to catch my attention. We've only got a couple days left of the month, so yeah, I'm really pushing it if I'm able to finish anything else, but I'll flick you through to some B-roll of me updating my reading journal for February, and then yeah, I'll check in and give you an update on what we read for the Completion Chronicles, what progress was made. I hope you're doing well, and I will speak to you in a little bit. All right, bye. Getting anything more finished for this vlog in the end of February, but I did finish Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and I loved this. This had a great happily ever after for Araya and Rain, and I loved getting to learn more about Vincent, who is Araya's adoptive father and was the previous king of the Nightborn vampires, and he was a Hajari. I probably said that wrong. It's been a little bit since I've listened to the audiobook, but the House of Night vampires are categorized by the fact that they have wings, and we have the Hajari vampires who have these bat-like wings, think Sarah J. Maas, and then we have the Rishin, which have more like angel-like wings, and these two have kind of been in a civil war forever and ever, or at the very least until Vincent himself won the Kajari and became the heir of the Kajari vampires and stole the throne from the Rishin vampires, and Reen is a Rishin vampire. So he is the first Rishin vampire king in a very long time. We know more about his backstory from the first book, that he was actually a turned vampire. So he's having a bit of trouble collecting the nobles because they are elitist pricks and see him as nothing more than scum. And the Hijari vampires are not going down without a fight. However, Rain and Aurea have to correlate their betrayals that had happened at the end of the last book, and throughout here they have to come together as people of the Nightborn court to get the Bloodborne vampires out of their country, because the Bloodborne vampires have been cursed by Nyaxia and they go into a bloodlust, and you're kind of like dangerous, bloodthirsting killing machines. We did get to learn a lot more about Vincent's history and what he was up to, because the Bloodborne vampires are looking for god relics in hopes that they can lift their curse, and that's the blood vampires' goal. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We also got to learn a lot about Aurea's mother. It was fantastic. Lots of political intrigue. We did get a wrap up that we've won some battles and there is a massive rebuild happening, that they now need to try and stem the hatred and prejudice between these two night courts and learn to live harmoniously. Well, I already know that the second duology is going to follow Misha, so I'm interested to see what happens there. She is Rain's best friend and fantastic. Absolutely love this. Love the way the gods are woven in here and how they're depicted and what influence they have over the world. I do have Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, so not sure how that's going to play out, and I think having now edited the early part of the vlog, I was getting that plot synopsis mixed up with Six Scorched Roses. Six Scorched Roses was fantastic, and I do think it's necessary just to get background on Vale and Lilith, but it is one of my favorite novellas. Let me pick it up while I'm talking about it. It's one of my favorite novellas, and I think the fact that she's able to chock in such strong and rich character description for both Lilith and Vale while also having their relationship development in this very short little instance was just fantastic. And I think in comparison to January, it was a little bit harder to, I guess, make as much progress or see as much like impact as the completing duologies, but I did like the themed version of the vlog, and definitely have got a few more different themed vlogged ideas to come. So in terms of what happened, I made progress in two series, which was Carissa Broadbent's Crowns of Nyaxis series and the Bound to Fae series by Eva Chase. I caught up with the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros, so I'm now just awaiting the next release, and I finished the Hades and Persephone saga by Scarlett St. Clair. So overall, pretty successful. Just wish I had managed to complete a few more series. Anyway, that's all from me today, guys. Comment down below and let me know what your favorite fantasy romance series is, or you can leave me a dragon emoji. If you'd like to see more content from me, please like and subscribe. I'll be attempting to post new videos every Sunday. Linked in the description box below will be all these books and links to my social media channels if you'd like to talk to me or follow me on any other corner of the internet. That's all from me today, guys. I hope you're doing all kinds of well, and I will speak to you soon. See ya!